Arwaki ni machiegni nyinga Milton Ochieng'. Chenro mar alam ne ringre ji auchiel joma nowito ngimagi e masira mar ndek kalapapla timore e kanisa mar AGC Karen. Jotelo mopogore kod familia ma jok manowito ngimagi ochopo e nyasino motelo ne chwalo ringregi motelo ne nyasi mar iko mabiro timore bang'e jumani. Wawinjane kaka chenro no dhi mbele.
Let me invite the youth leader and party leader of ODM, Mheshimiwa Senator Oburu, to pass his condolences. And then I will ask CS Kipchumba Murkomen to come on behalf of the cabinet secretaries and take over the program from there, and you will invite the Speaker, Senate, who will then invite the Speaker, National Assembly.
Thank you, the Deputy President of Kenya, Professor Kithure Kindiki, all cabinet secretaries present, the families of the deceased, the speakers of both National Assembly and the Senate, and all protocols observed. I have come here with a lot of pain to say bye-bye to a young man, Ngeno. This young man, I came to know him in 2012. In 2012, he was a very close friend of my late brother, Raila Amolo Odinga. And I met him in Raila's office, and he was very passionate to be with us in our party, ODM. And he wanted to contest the seat in Murwadi Kir on ODM ticket. But unfortunately, after trying to campaign for a few months there, he came back and told us that the constituency where he wants to contest will not vote for him if he stands on an ODM ticket. That was very honest. And he told us that he was going to contest on Jubilee, and that was more acceptable, and he was going to still be with us, and he joined us in Parliament. Personally, you know, I joined Parliament in 1994, and I have not left it until today. So, Johanna Ngeno and the majority leader are there. They found us there, and we were giving them a few lessons on parliamentary practice. And he was a very passionate, very, very passionate member of parliament. But I was giving him a few clues what to do in order to be close to your people. Your people will not respect you simply because you speak a lot in parliament. They will respect you if they see a difference in their livelihood. So there are few things which you must do. First, you must learn to know that these people you see, the ministers you see here, they are very important because they hold the public resources which you need to devolve to your people. And you cannot just be sitting in parliament there speaking and you don't speak to them. You don't knock the doors. You don't knock the doors and make sure that those resources which are with them are flowing back to your people. And if they are not flowing, you make sure they flow. But if they flow, make sure the implementation there also happens. They can flow, but then the implementation does not happen. The money disappears in the hands of a few people. But Johanna Ngeno learned those tricks, and he very quickly grasped the parliamentary practice and how to be close to his people. And I also know Captain Were. Captain Were used to be a pilot for my brother, late brother Rail. His wife is also from Malego, where my mom comes from, so she's my mom. And they are also a fairly young family. But I've seen all these people who have lost, whom we have lost. Most of them are very young. And I know that because Ngeno was the politician there, it is Ngeno's name which is coming up very prominently. But I can assure you, all these people are having a lot of pain in losing their beloved ones. But the one of Ngeno, I know politicians are going to now start talking about some ill motive, or there is some motive behind his death. The politicians who have very little agenda, they always want to read some malice in the death of a politician, any politician who died. But a politician is also a human being like all human beings. You can have an accident. You can die in just a normal accident like everybody else. Please don't read malice in the death of our brother again. He has died like everybody else can die, and we want to the Almighty God to put their souls in eternal peace, all of them. And I want to finish there by bringing the condolences of my family, the ODM fraternity, and the people I represent of Siaya, as senator of Siaya. So I thank you very much. Asante.
Thank you, Senator Oburu. Mrs. Ngeno, I told you at home on Monday that in the first term of parliament, a number of us were harassing Johanna because he was then a senior bachelor to get married. The person who led in that harassment was Senator Oburu, because we served with Senator Oburu and Johanna in the Public Investments Committee. And every time we'd go for a retreat to Mombasa for report writing, Senator Oburu would have his younger family, his young wife, and he would tell Johanna, wewe kijana yangu, unaona mimi nimekuja na mimi ni 2-star general, fanya bidii. So Senator Oburu, thank you for the pressure you helped us to put on Johanna, because eventually, as you have said, read in 2018, he tied the knot with the love of his life. Na inoi into here. I want to invite Senator and Cabinet Secretary Murkomen to introduce the CSs here present, give your brief condolences. Then you will invite for us the Speaker of the Senate.
Asante sana. Thank you, Majority Leader. Your Excellency, Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Right Honorable Speaker, Wetangula, National Assembly, Speaker Jefferson Kingi of Senate, my colleagues, Cabinet Secretaries, Principal Secretaries, Majority Leaders and Members of Parliament, Bishop Langat and the Church Fraternity, the families of our friends, that is Nick, Amos, Captain Were, the families of Wycliffe and my friend Carlos, and the family of our friend and brother Johanna Ngeno. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon once again. First of all, let me say that this is a very sad day. To have 6 lives in a church like this, this is very painful. And I'd like to send my personal condolences to the families. And before I say a very few remarks, I'd like first to introduce my colleagues whom we serve in the executive, starting with Principal Secretaries present. Please be upstanding. We have a good number of Principal Secretaries who are here. We have the PS Arumonyang Public Works, PS Aurelia Office of the PCS, PS Rono Agriculture, PS Mbunya Public Service, PS Finance Chris Kipto, PS Environment Engineer Ngeno, PS Internal Security Raymond Omolo, PS Education Professor Bitok, PS Lands again he has been introduced to Korir. We have the Solicitor General present. We have the PS Citizen Services, Immigration, Abelio. We have the PS Lands. We have PS Korir Water, and PS Mining, Harim Kimutai. Thank you very much for being present. We also have here my colleagues, Cabinet Secretaries, present. We have, please be upstanding. CS Rebecca Miano of Tourism. We have CS Davis Chirchir of Roads and Transport. And we have CS Defense, Rosalind Soipantuia. And Mr. Deputy President, it will be very unfair if I don't give Rosalind 1 minute to say something. For the simple reason that, unknown to many people, she was very close to Ngeno. And since I was part of the negotiations that took place in 2022, I know the inside story and where Ngeno stood when it came to Soipan. So I'd like to invite her to say something.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Professor Kithure Kindiki, speakers of both houses, Honorable Wetangula, Honorable Speaker of the Senate, governors, colleague CSs, the families of our departed brothers, fellow mourners, good afternoon. I would like to, on my own personal behalf, on behalf of my family, and on behalf of the Ministry of Defense, I would like to pass my very sincere condolences to the families, friends, relatives, and many Kenyans who are mourning today for the loss of our brothers, Wycliffe, Carlos, Honorable Ngeno, Lieutenant Colonel retired Were, Amos, and Nicholas. I will not be long because of time, but just to say that Narok County is in mourning for the loss of all these very dear brothers, as well as the military fraternity because of retired Lieutenant Colonel Were. And as Waziri says, I would like to say something very brief about our brother, Johana Ngeno. Although I am very well known to all these other young men from Narok County, as well as Captain Were. I have flown with him a few times. We have lost a great leader in Honorable Ngeno. And to me, he's a friend, he's a colleague, and a brother in so many ways. And unknown to many, maybe many people just know the abrasive side of our brother Ngeno, but he's a very amiable human being. and a serious family person. I don't know if Naya knows, but I have messages of him inviting me to your baby showers. Unfortunately, he always caught me out of town. And I know he moved around with you, even on parliamentary trips, and, I know how a family person he is. And in his politics, we got elected into parliament in 2013. And for those who know how unceremoniously I got into politics, Johanna Ngeno played a big role. I think he used to sympathize with this tiny young girl, and he used to pull a lot of big crowds. So part of the ways I got known within 2 months of campaigning was joyriding in his big crowds and getting known to the people of Narok County. He was very supportive all through our political career. And even on days when sometimes he would declare people persona non grata in Emurua Dikir, as I know the leaders of majority did not say much of the 2022 campaigns. They were tough. Honorable Ishungwa and Aaron, there were days when you could not get into Emurua Dikir. But 2017. But he always supported me all along. And when I vied for governorship in 2022, he always called me my governor, while I knew exactly where his heart was. But he would call me his governor. And true to his word, he was always very soft with me. Even when things were hot in Emurua Dikir, I would find my way around. And I think he's a Mkarabati. I don't know what Sudi will say, but I know he's one Mkarabati of politics. Ngeno. So one day, him and Farouk accosted me in the deputy president's residence in Karen when we were at the heat of campaigns for governorship, and I was vying against his father-in-law, Patrick. So him and Farouk put me in a room and said, we have seen far, and we know you are going to become a cabinet secretary. And knowing who he was and who Farouk is, nikajua hawa wananipanga. So I was very furious with them. I walked out on them. To cut the long story short, when I got appointed, he came back and said, you see, I had a prophecy. So amekuwa akinidai prophecy fees lately. We've lost a great friend, a great leader. We've lost great young people and captain here, and they will greatly be missed in all the various sectors where they served this country. And finally, when I saw the accident victims, when it started circulating on social media, and I saw, very unfortunately, our brother as being one of them, and Carlos being in the same aircraft, I got confused because I know where they stood politically. But like we are told, it is not that serious. When it is politics, we stand on different sides. Let's agree to disagree, but remember, it is not that serious. We have to hold our country together. We are brothers and sisters, even if we hold divergent views about things. And that is the same thing that we need to understand at this point going forward, that we can agree to disagree, but keep the peace, each one of us expressing themselves the way they want to. Your Excellencies, this is my church, and I know Bishop will allow me to say, Karibuni Kanisani. Thank you for coming to mourn with Narok County, with the family of our brother Colonel Were and the entire country. To all the families, may the Lord comfort you, and we are going to stand together as we afford a befitting send-off to each and every one of our brothers. The Lord bless you all. Thank you.
I will be very brief, Your Excellency. First, let me say, like many colleagues have said here, I joined politics the same time, or I was elected to Parliament the same time with Honorable Joanna Ngeno in 2013. And you all know he came in KNC. He stuck on that side in 2017 when he moved to Kanu. And like many of my colleagues, including Ichumo, have said, that we were always on the opposite side for a long time until after 2017. How I became a friend to Carlos was actually because we were campaigning against Ngeno. And in that campaign, what was extremely interesting is that we would go there and say, Tupigie Kura Jubilee, we do what we needed to do. When we came back to Nairobi, he never took offense. Ngeno never took any offense. He used to say, you people don't know those people. Those are my people. I have come from very far. I actually used to say I created a constituency and that nothing will change. He kept a very good spirit as a politician, a person who is able to fight during the day and negotiate at night. He knew when to compete with colleagues and when to negotiate with them. And we had later a very good relationship that grew over time. The more I stayed close to Ngeno, I felt like he was a very underrated leader, extremely underrated. In fact, for a person who went to Maseno School and did his first degree out of the country in Kiev, and then had a second degree here with another master's degree, he was the kind of person that I think all of us assumed because of his style of politics and the way he mingled with the people in Emurua Dikir and the way he never threw the card of his academic achievements all over. We actually underrated his intellect and his capabilities. It's until you sit down with him and engage him that you realize that he had a certain depth in terms of intellect, knowledge, and appreciation of issues. Number two, I don't know if there's something like that Bishop will tell me. Ngeno was quietly and deeply a religious man. And that is another contradiction. For some of us who went to Sunday school and grew up in pastors' families, it used to fascinate me how in his public speeches he had the capabilities to speak about verses in the Bible often and relate it with his political journey. And he really used to quote those deep verses, and the interpretations would indicate a person who had an appreciation of theology, an appreciation of the Bible and Christianity. No wonder every of his example he used to give was always about heaven, a new land. I think it's because also of the challenges he used to face in Narok, Transmara, Emurua Dikir, on the challenges he went through. It was always, figuratively, he always used to tell his people there is a better land to go to. His favorite song was Kalenjin hymn songs 100. And I've heard him sing many times. Mieme nekararan misi nekikere amukayanet Siv kostjobwe korona tabara kipsengwe tungi boy. You want to pretend there are no Kalenjins here? Kere yeti kimni tunki boy tu yeki kere Yesu. So somehow there was a depth of faith in him that was underrated. And I think he was quietly in communion with God in his life, unlike some of us who publicly professed. Ngeno, a very interesting issue that has maybe not been captured here, or people fear to say it. It was actually something unique there that was called kingpin, that everybody So there was this joke all the time. You meet him and he says, you know, I'm the kingpin. And then, so I used to tell him, but who are you competing with? That is an opposed. He once had to explain himself when politics became too much. So he said, they are in the skies, there is a sun, that is President William Ruto. There is a moon, which is his deputy, and there are other bigger stars. So he used to tell us that he's a firefly. You see the firefly, that his kingship is a firefly. So he used to say he glows at night. He's one of those fireflies. And as we think about it, and it was really very interesting. When we think about it, it reminds me the sermon of Martin Luther King Jr. when he preached about Mark chapter 10:35, about the drum major instincts. And he said that, you know, in us, when James and John asked Jesus that they would like to be put on the left side and the right side in their kingdom, it was Jesus who told them that, yes, that is fine, but it has to come through sacrifice. It takes sacrifice and servant leadership to be in my right side or left side. And I think as Johanna said he was a firefly, I think he was right. He was a firefly of justice. He fought for the justice of his people. He fought for land justice. He was a firefly when it came to music. An artist. He really did a lot to raise the stature of the musicians in this country. He was a firefly when he became in his leadership in the committee of housing. He did a fantastic job, as everybody has realized here, has spoken about it here. And therefore, in commemoration of his great job, I want to say that let us go out there and be the fireflies, the servant leadership, be the kingpins and queenpins in your corner to make a difference in every opportunity you are given to make a difference in this nation. Mr. Speaker, DP, I needed to say Carlos is also my friend, a very good friend of mine. The book writes that this book is written that Carlos graduated in 2015. He went from first year 2010 and graduated in 2015. It is not true. He did not graduate in 2015. Carlos went to university in 2010, and in 2015, he left college. But he could not graduate because he had a fee of about $500,000. So in 2023, on 2nd of October, he came to my office and told me, I want to graduate. And I told him, okay, I'll see what to do. Luckily, we facilitated his graduation. On 20th of December, he sent me a picture having graduated with his mother. And he was very happy in appreciation. This man was a very good friend. He was a hardworking person. And I want to say that Carlos, one of the reasons why Carlos did not get a job early, he had told us that he would not want to be a teacher early because he thought he was focusing on his political career. And Were also was very close to me, and I know the family know that. We have gone home. He has come to my place. And I must say that on behalf of all of us who are in the executive, we want to pray for these families. We will support you. His Excellency the President directed our ministry to do some work on his behalf, and we have done so to facilitate food in the home, to facilitate the tents, and to facilitate also many other arrangements that His Excellency the President said that all those people who come there must be fed and must be appreciated for the support they continue to give their member of parliament and the families that are present with us. I wish you God's grace. May the souls of all these great gentlemen rest in eternal peace. It is now my greatest pleasure and duty to invite my speaker, who was my speaker for a few months before I left Senate, Speaker Amason Jefferson Kingi.
Familia za wenda zake zikiongozwa na wajane, wazazi, ndugu na marafiki, Naibu wa Rais Profesa Kithure Kindiki, viongozi wenzangu, mabibi na mabwana waombolezaji, Bwana asifiwe. Bwana asifiwe tena. Kwa niaba yangu binafsi na kwa niaba ya familia yangu na kwa niaba ya bunge la Senate, ningependa kupeana risala za rambirambi kwa huzuni kwa familia za ndugu zetu ambao walituacha. Kifo ni kifo, lakini kifo cha ghafla kina uchungu mkubwa. Na bila shaka uchungu huu ndio familia hizi 6 zinasikia kwa sasa. Letu ni kumwombea Mwenyezi Mungu awapatie faraja na bega la kuegemea wakati huu mgumu. Tunajua wazi katika eneo bunge ambalo Mheshimiwa Johana alikuwa akiwakilisha, wingu la majonzi limetanda mapana na marefu eneo bunge lile. Nataka niwaambie kwamba si nyinyi peke yenu ambao mnahisi uchungu ule. Sisi kama familia ya bunge pia tunahisi uchungu ule, kwa sababu Mheshimiwa alikuwa pia mwanafamilia wa bunge letu. Nimesikiliza wale waliozungumza kwa niaba ya familia hizi 6, na imebainika wazi kwamba wale ambao wamelala mbele yetu hapa walikuwa wanategemewa pakubwa na familia hizi 6. Kama wahenga wanavyotuambia ni kwamba mti mkubwa ukianguka wana wa ndege huyumba. Bila shaka familia hizi zitayumba, na ndio maana tunamwomba Mwenyezi Mungu apatie nguvu na apatie maswali, apatie majibu yale maswali ambayo mnajiuliza katika fikra zenyu. Uzuri ni kwamba tulivyoambiwa ni kwamba ndugu zetu walolala walikuwa ni watu wanaogopa na kumtegemea Mungu na Yesu Kristo. Na kama vile tunavyokumbushwa katika kitabu cha Isaya 57:2, inasema kwamba wale wanaoenda kwa unyofu huwa na amani na hupata pumziko walalapo mautini. Those who walk uprightly enter into peace. They find peace as they lie in death. Tunaombea ndugu zetu waliotuacha kwamba Mwenyezi Mungu apokee roho zao na zihifadhi pahala pema peponi. Kakangu bunge, Spika wa bunge la kitaifa, karibu uje uzungumze.
Asante sana. Mungu yu mwema na kila wakati. Asante sana. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, my colleague from the Senate, our governors present, viongozi wa nyumba zetu za bunge, familia zilizopoteza wapendwa wao, waheshimiwa mawaziri, waheshimiwa PSS, wabunge wetu na waheshimiwa wananchi. Tumekuja hapa kuomboleza kifo cha hawa mashujaa. Hawa mashujaa ni watu tunajua na ni watu tumefanya kazi na wao. Nilimjua Johana Ngeno in 2000 2006 when he walked to my office in Foreign Affairs and told me he wanted to go and compete against Gideon Conchela. In 2007, they had a very bruising battle. We know what happened there, and in early 2007, 2008, he came and told me, my friend, you gave me some money. I went, I won, but I lost. Said, I won, but I lost, and I understood. And we became very tight friends. He's a man full of life. Many times I go to South Rift for functions when our MPs invite us. Mukiwa kwa function, unasikia commotion. Unauliza what is happening, unasema Johanna is coming. And he'll arrive and change the mood of the meeting. That was Johanna. Very, very good person. With a clean heart. Tulimuita siku moja kumwambia a support ndugu yangu Tunai as a candidate for senator. Tulikuwa na hawa kina Murkomen na Ichungwa na Aaron. Akatusikiza alafu akasema, you know, I respect all of you, but this one hapana. Na akaondoka akatuacha. But later he called me and said, you know, mimi nina msimamo wangu. That is him. So Mama, our daughter, the Ndutu family, mama wa rafiki yetu Johanna, tunasema pole sana. Huyu ndugu yetu Were, on 22nd of last month, alinibeba mimi na Aaron Cheriot na Faruk Kibet kutoka Narok mpaka Kakamega, akaturudisha Nairobi. Na rafiki yetu tumetembea na yeye sana. Very diligent pilot. But accidents do happen. It happened. We celebrate their lives. Hawa vijana wengine wote, huyu kijana Murkomen anaitwa Carlos amewahi kuja kwa ofisi yangu. Tukaongea, and he was a very focused young man. So tukiwa hapa leo, waheshimiwa, ni kuaga wa ndugu zetu. Inatukumbusha siku ile tulienda Marsabit baada ya kupoteza wabunge 6. Godana, Ngoyoni, Guracha na wengine, Sasura, Mirugi. When in a stroke of one accident, a tragedy hits the country. We pray to God that all their souls rest in eternal peace. Bishop Langat, we thank you for your homily and the good message you passed to us. Wabunge wetu wote jana niliwapa time kwa bunge. Pole hamjaongea hapa. I know members of parliament love talking anytime you see an audience. But I gave you time 1.5 hours, and you all paid tribute to your colleagues. And we thank you for taking time to come here. Just to acknowledge you, please, all members of parliament in both houses be upstanding to be acknowledged. The National Assembly and the Senate. This is the big, happy family of parliament that is now sad for losing one of us. tunawashukuru sana. Friday tunawaomba twende Emurua Digiri for the final send off. Thank you, be seated. Tuko hapa pia na wafanyakazi wetu wa bunge wakiongozwa na karani mkuu. Tafadhali msimame tu tuwa acknowledge. Wengi pengine wako huko nje kwa kazi, lakini clerk wetu Njoroge yuko hapo na wengine. Tunawashukuru sana kwa kuja kuwa nasi. I want to end by saying, like everybody else has said, when there is a tragedy of this nature in our country, it will be good for all of us to appreciate the will of God and not assign malice where it is not necessary. I have no doubt that Pilot Were was an astute airman and cannot have endangered his own life. This was an accident, and we hope the aviation authorities will look at the aircraft and its remains and see how corrective measures mechanically can be done in the future to avoid similar happenings. Because those of us who have flown with Captain Were, Aaron, you remember how he was navigating around clouds in the Kisii area, in Kericho, to get us to where we are going. An extremely careful pilot. And for Johanna Ngeno and the people of Emurua Digiri, you've lost a leader. All politics are local, and he knew what local politics of his area meant. We went there to campaign many times, and you could see a man truly connected with his people. You could see a man who his people listened to, and you could see a man who his people appreciated. One time he came to see me, and I told him, you know, there's a book I read where there's a character called Johanna Mjinga. He laughed and said, Mimi si ule Johanna wa kitabu, mimi ni Johanna mwerefu, na wa kitabu ni Johanna Mjinga. Then he said, you know, hao watu ya Kipsigis wameniambia mimi nikuwe kingpin. Unaonaje? Nikasema sasa hiyo enda sungumuza na Cheriot Aaron na wengine. Wakikubali sawa. You know, at any one time as I finish, an individual stands up in a generation and distinguishes himself above the rest, takes courage, speaks courageously, leads with vision, and speaks for everybody. No wonder the bishop said this was Kipkaliakones incarnate, because we served with Kipkaliakones and he knew how to tell you things as they were. Strangely, Bishop, the two heroes have died under similar circumstances. But when tragedy strikes, we withdraw back, thank God, praise God, like Job in the Bible. After losing each and every asset he had and his children, he said, I still believe you are a good God. And God remains a good God. God has never suffered from memory loss. He'll always look after the widows and the orphans that our brothers have left. Allow me now to invite the Deputy President of the Republic to come and pay his tribute, and members of Parliament who are here, the houses are sitting, and we encourage you as soon as we are done to cascade quickly to Parliament so that we don't have any quorum hitches. Thank you and may God bless you.
Asante Mheshimiwa Speaker, naomba tuketi. God is good all the time. Asante sana. Familia za wenzetu ambao wametuacha na viongozi wa kanisa pamoja na viongozi wa kitaifa, nachukua nafasi hii pia kusema pole. I want to take this opportunity to say a big pole. The 6 families who have lost our brothers who are lying in front of us, in front of me. The country has lost a lawmaker, a representative of the people, and a lawyer. The country has lost a pilot, a seasoned pilot, who served our nation as a military officer. The country has lost a journalist, a photojournalist, a teacher, and a young security officer. The country has lost our brothers in an accident, and we are praying that God will help us so that we prevent more deaths, whether in road accidents, air accidents, or any other death that we can prevent. I have listened to the tributes by family members of our brothers here, our late brothers, and they were all good men. Some older men, others younger men, but they were all good men. Everyone doing something for our country, contributing to our country's progress. And the Bible encourages us in Revelation chapter 14, verse 13, that blessed are those who die in the Lord. Blessed are those who die well and with good reputation, because they rest from the labors of this world, and their good deeds follow them. Heri wale ambao wanakufa katika Bwana, kwa sababu wanapumzika kutoka kazi ngumu za dunia hii, na matendo yao mazuri yanawafuata katika mapumziko. So we are very proud of our brothers here, and we pray for strength for the families. His Excellency the President has already reached out to support all the families, and he is going also to be with us on Friday. And even after this event, he had asked me to request Patrick, my brother Governor Tutu, there to pass the message on behalf of the President, because of another assignment I'll be doing after this service. So we are together and we support you. Second thing is to say that for all those 6 families, I have listened to the various requests for support beyond the immediate support. The request by my brother Patrick on Mwalimu, because we have another qualified person from the same family. I want to undertake on behalf of government that it is going to be done as requested. I've also discussed with my brother, Governor Patrick, and we have agreed that because he's the governor from where the majority of these brothers came from, he's going to coordinate so that for each family, whatever requests that are there for each family, Governor Patrick will coordinate, and then they will bring them to me. We are able as government to support all the families to make sure that we don't abandon them because of the departure of their loved ones. And I know, for example, there's a young officer who has died, who was a security officer protecting our brother Ngeno. We'll find ways of supporting that family to get somebody else. I am told there's a widow somewhere with many children and has lost one of the sons who was the only person there. We'll see how to support that family. So, Governor Patrick, we have agreed, my brother, do the job. In the next few days, bring the request, and we are going to support all the 6 families. Kwa hivyo, I think we are in this place, very, very, very painful moment. And I also knew the Honorable Johanna Ngeno quite a lot. We didn't agree in many things, but he was a very, very good friend of mine. We agreed on all the ideas and vision that he had for the people of the Emuru-Dikir. But we always discussed about the methodology of getting those things done. So I want to agree with those who say that many people may have underrated the intelligence, wit, and the leadership capabilities of Johanna Ngeno. I agree fully. I have engaged him. He's a solid professional, a very visionary leader, and a person who knew how to combine strength that a leader requires to lead and the soft issues of life. How he combined his very strong character as a very strong defender of his people, sometimes very abrasive. But he would combine that with his very easy laughter. Many times when he was off duty, when he was not doing the rough politics of Emuru-Dikir and Narok County. So he advised me. We did 2 events recently with him, one in Emuru-Dikir, another one in Kilgoris, just a few months ago. And let me just say this one. And then he said, not just to me, but to the congregation. We were doing some event for 20 churches. And he came and he told me in front of the people, Mr. Deputy President, if you want to succeed, you must stand behind President Ruto and support him to deliver for Kenya. So if anybody had any doubt that the late Johanna Ngeno was a friend, supporter of the president, that doubt should be removed today through the witness statement that I am providing before this congregation. He said loudly and boldly that according to the Kalenjin and Maasai culture, because he's married in the Maasai community and he's from the Kalenjin culture, he said, kwa mila ya Wakalenjin na Wamasai, wako na msemo ya kwamba mguu wa nyuma wa ng'ombe unakanyanga mahali mguu wa mbele umekanyanga. And therefore, as Deputy President, you must support the president in exact and accurate way. Vile ng'ombe ikikanyanga mguu wa mbele, mguu wa nyuma unakanyanga the same spot. So that his vision, the vision of the president, becomes your vision. His agenda becomes your agenda. He even went ahead and said, his people becomes your people. And everything the president aspires to do becomes your aspiration. So that was Johanna Ngeno. And therefore, I have lost a brother and a friend to many people who are here. The final thing that I want to say, so that we hand over the program back to the church, is to assure the people of Imuro-Dikir, the people of Narok, that in honor of the late Johana Ngeno, who has served his constituents for 3 consecutive terms, all the ideals that the late Johana Ngeno had for Imuro-Dikir and for the people of Narok will be honored. And the government will make sure that we will balance the interest of the communities in Imuro-Dikir and in Narok and provide a sustainable, long-lasting, win-win solution that balances environmental conservation with also the interest of the population in that area. It is not one against the other. You can have the protection of the Mau ecosystem and at the same time grant land rights to the genuine people who have found their home in a Imuro-Dikir constituency. So in honor of Johana Ngeno, the government will work out a program which is already on course to balance the environmental interest with the interest of the communities, because Johana Ngeno believed in peaceful coexistence, he believed in justice and equity, and he believed that everyone deserves justice, and he fought for all the communities that were in his constituency and in Narok County. Kwa hivyo tumeshukuru sana vile Mungu ametuwezesha kuwa na hafla hii. Tunaomba ya kwamba mtusamee kanisa, saa ingine tunaongeanga watu wengi na tunaongea sana. Lakini tutaendelea tu kujirekebisha, ndio tufupishe maneno, tupatie heshima familia waliofiwa. Tuko na nafasi nyingi sana ya kuongea outside some of these very personal events like funerals and weddings, which are quite personal to the family. So we are growing. We are trying to moderate ourselves, and in the future we will have shorter events so that the family can have ample time to grieve and to feel comforted. Mimi ndio nimesema nimefanya makosa, sio nyinyi. I see some of the politicians are looking at me as if I've accused them of anything. I've not accused anybody. I'm just saying let's try going forward to be a bit more measured and to respect events like this ones where we have grieving families and people who have been affected by the loss of their loved ones. Kwa hayo mengi, nawashukuru sana. I wish you all the best. You have my personal commitment. You have the commitment of President William Ruto and the government of Kenya to support all the 6 families in the manner in which I've explained. Asanteni sana.